Hello and welcome to Getting Good at Overwatch. This time we'll be talking about analyzing yourself. This will include gameplay footage in later episodes, and the start is going to be very theoretical. Later on we will actively apply these methods, so trust me, this will get more interesting. Also, I suck at whatever the fuck this program is, so don't expect any fancy animation. First of all, who am I and what are my qualifications? In game, I'm called IOStux. I have been playing Overwatch seriously, and I apply the methodologies I'm going to explain to you in this series myself. My highest rating this season was 3720, which puts me in the top 1% of players that have completed their placement matches according to Master Overwatch. I also coach teams of different skill ratings from as low to gold to plat and as high as Grandmaster, up to 4.4 KSR. I have played in a team setting before, which confronted me with self-critique and learning how to fix mistakes effectively. Also, I play since the second beta weekend. I would have liked to play the game earlier, but as you all know, getting into the beta early was very difficult. So essentially I play since launch. Now you may be asking yourself, why am I doing this? It frustrates me to see players think they can't improve any further, that they have reached their skill ceiling. I also want to unveil and make it clear that ELO hell, as in a rating that you can climb out of no matter how good you are, doesn't exist. A lot of people think that talent makes a good player. There's a lot of proof against this. Anecdotally, I have played League of Legends casually and WoW competitively before. I don't have any FPS experience, and I still managed to improve myself. You can do the same. If you click this video, you have the mindset to improve. I want to make clear that I fully support this mindset and want to help you reach your goals. First, we'll start with self-assessment. Assessing yourself allows you to find out weaknesses in your play. Knowing your weaknesses is the first step to fixing them. If you have more strengths and or less weaknesses than someone else, you are better than them. So how do you assess yourself? First, you need to learn what makes a good player good. Then, you need to watch your own gameplay and take a criticizing look at how you would rate yourself in the following categories. And then, this is optional though, let someone else watch the Vods and do the assessment. Now, this isn't mandatory, but I think it helps because sometimes you may be a little overconfident or inconfident, and getting someone else's perspective is really, really helpful with getting a more objective look at your gameplay. So, what makes a good player good? There are multiple categories. Now, obviously, there may be something that I have missed, but I think this is pretty good for a start. A good player has aim, good positioning, game sense, a good mindset, can invest the time, has teamwork, communicate, is flexible, and plays consistently. So, how are you going to rate yourself in these categories? First, record a lot of your play. I personally use OBS. It's free and it's really, really good. And when you record a what, don't cherry pick. Record the game and take the first loss you get. You can't learn much from watching wins. Knowing what went wrong is more valuable than knowing what went right. Now, obviously, this isn't always true. However, I tend to find more mistakes and I tend to learn a lot more when I know that the game was a loss. You only perform as good as you do in your worst. After watching the VOD, possibly multiple times, and focus on different categories in each playthrough, rate yourself. So, I personally use ranks from 0 to 3. Now, rank 0 can be ruled out since it defines knowledge of that being a quality of a good player. So, for instance, if you don't know that positioning is important or that positioning makes a good player, then that would be a rank 0. However, we have already talked about the qualities of a good player, so you should have at least a 1 in every category. So let's start with the first category, which is aim. Now, a rank 1 in this is represented by red, rank 2 by yellow, and rank 3 by green. Now, obviously, these definitions are rather vague, and you can make of it as you will. However, I think it gives a good kind of outline to rank yourself. So rank 1 would be that you know that good aim is important, which we already have since we talked about it earlier. The second is understanding of aim, so you know what the difference between flicking or tracking. Rank 3 means that you have the mechanical skill to actually hit crucial shots in game. Next up is positioning. Now, obviously knowing that good positioning is important is already ruled out. Rank 2 is if you understand what makes good positioning, so knowing concepts like high ground or where to stand in a team, aka in the back line or the front line. Rank 3 would mean that you're able to actively position yourself mid-game, that you not only understand what a good position is, but that you actually can think of that in game and apply it. Now, game sense. Rank 1 would be knowing characters' strengths and weaknesses and their ability. Rank 2 would be to understand concepts like dry pushing or ult efficiency and how important they are. And rank 3 would be the ability to predict enemy ultimates and enemy plays in general, and to recognize enemies out of position and punish them accordingly. Now, the correct mindset is rather important. Now, red would be that you think that mindset has nothing to do with rank. This is a little vague, but I will make a video about all of these categories later on. So I hope I will clear up some of this vagueness. Now, rank 2 would be realizing that mindset correlates to rank. There are a lot of players that think that their mindset and having a healthy mindset has nothing to do with outplaying and performing in an actual competitive match. This is very wrong, and I want to make that clear in a later video. Now, green means that you actually have a healthy mindset, that you remain self-critical, don't blame your teammates, and you aren't toxic. There is a big difference between knowing what a good mindset is and actually having a good mindset. Next up is time investment. Now, rank 1 would be that you invest barely any time, so you're mostly a casual gamer. Now, this isn't anything bad, but it obviously hinders you from climbing to a higher rank. This is mostly people who are older, who maybe have jobs, or they're very busy with school if they are younger, or maybe they have a very busy relationship or other hobbies they want to pursue. Now, rank 2 would be if you have free time and invest it into gaming, but you aren't really specializing into Overwatch, or you don't take it as seriously. Maybe you play different games, like you play League of Legends or Dota or other competitive games like that with Overwatch. So obviously you want to be good on all of them, so you kind of split the time. Now, green means that you invest all of your time into Overwatch. This means that you practice, that you warm up before going into competitive, that you actively analyze your VOD, that you watch pros and pro plays a lot. Team up. Rank 1 would mean that you play the game like Call of Duty. There's no team comp and no synergy. You basically ignore your team and you try to rack up a high KDA, which is obviously the wrong attitude and the wrong approach to the game. Rank 2 would be knowing common ultimate combos. So for instance, the Beyblade strat at the moment, where Ana boosts the Reaper with his ultimate, or even without. Or knowing that a Zarya ultimate with the Pharah ultimate works really well. Not only do you know that, but you also try to apply it in game. Now this doesn't always work though. Rank 3 would be that you constantly try to work with your team. So you try to improve the team comp and you try to fill if something is wrong, that you take the bullet and maybe go support if no one else does, and you really, really need a Lucio. And that if you try to combine ultimates, that you announce it and that you actually make it happen, so that it'll actually work in the end. Now, communication is actually one of the easier things to fix about yourself. Rank 1 would be if you never use voice comms, so that you don't listen, you don't even join voice chat, and thus you don't even talk. Rank 2 is if you at least listen, sometimes you even speak, but if you speak, you tend to clutter the comms a lot. So this means that you think that you are sharing valuable information, but too often that valuable information, according to you, is common sense, and that space could be used with a call by someone else. Now, rank 3 is if you effectively make callouts and you're making plans with a team. This means that you, for instance, all take the same path when taking the first point on Umbani, i.e. you all go underground or you all take the stairs. And effectively making callouts is stuff like, McCree, watch out, Reaper is going to drop down on us, so this way he can flashbang him, so his reaction time is improved. Next up is flexibility. Now, rank 1 would be if you can only play a few characters decently. Now, these are basically one-trick ponies who aren't very good, and if they're on any other character than their mains, then they perform atrociously. Now, rank 2 would be if you can play multiple characters decently. This means that, for instance, you're specialized in a role like DPS or tank, and you should be able to play all of those characters into a decent level. Now, green means, or rank 3, that you are exceptional on your main characters, but you can still play all of the others to a decent level, meaning that if you are forced to fill, you won't be a detriment. Next up, consistency. Rank 1 means that you are very inconsistent. You either throw the game through bad plays or you barely earn your spot. Rank 2 means that you have your moments, that you sometimes can carry games, but it doesn't really happen that often. And rank 3 means that you are performing close to your peak performance in every game, that you should be able to easily stomp players below your true rank. So for instance, a Grandmaster player shouldn't have any problems carrying a Master game, and this goes all the way down to the ranks. A Diamond player shouldn't have problems dealing with low plat players. Now, please pause the video, watch a VOD of yourself, and try to assess yourself in all of the categories. When you are done, we will go to the next slide. So this is my expectation of tiers. Red represents a rank 1, yellow rank 2, and green represents rank 3. Now obviously the distribution of colors isn't set in stone. So for instance, with diamond, I say that a diamond player should have green aim and yellow positioning, but these could be swapped around. The only thing that matters is the cumulative rating. This basically means that a red means 1, a yellow 2, and a green red, and you add them all up together. Now, the order doesn't matter anymore, but the cumulative rating does. So for instance, a silver player has 6 red boxes, 6 times 1 equals 6, so his cumulative rating is 6. Now you need to fill it in. Let's say you are a gold player, you assessed yourself, and you come up with a cumulative rating of 19. Now, there seems to be something wrong here. You assessed yourself somewhere in high platinum to diamond. The arrow is a little off here. However, your actual SR is gold, which should have a cumulative rating of around 6. So what can we take from this? You may have overestimated yourself. In situations like these, it can really, really help that you let your VOD be analyzed by a friend who has the time. Now, what happens if you don't believe my ratings? Clearly, your system must be broken. If you do not believe me, find a friend who can spare 15 minutes of his time and is better than you, or at least somewhat even. Chances are they will reassure you that you may have overassessed yourself. Being overconfident is not bad, but it's bad to neglect improvement because you think you don't need improvement. Now you need to adjust your assessment. The more people assess you, the more reliable the assessment becomes. Try to get as accurate as an assessment as you can get. This becomes important later on. So this is an adjusted assessment. This is what your friends might have rated you. Now we can see that the cumulative rating is 13, that you have overestimated yourself in a lot of those categories. Now 13 is a lot closer to what I expect a gold player to have, even a little higher. So your friends believe that you are a little underplaced, which is good. It just means that you need to play more and eventually will climb if you keep that performance as in the VOD. Now we can use that to maximize practice efficiency. Getting something from rank 1 to rank 2 increases your cumulative assessment rating by the same amount as getting something from rank 2 to rank 3. However, going from 1 to 2 is a lot easier than going from 2 to 3. So what does this mean? You should try to improve your weakest spots first. They are easier to fix and will lead to actual results, which will motivate you to keep going. You should do regular self-assessments by analyzing your VODs. You don't always have to create a new spreadsheet, however. Ask your VOD reviewer, or if you are honest with yourself, you can ask yourself, if they see any improvements compared to the last time they saw your VOD. Now, if you need VOD analysis, the Competitive Overwatch subreddit or the Overwatch University subreddit is usually very nice, so you can just post them there, and usually 1 or 2 people will help you with that. Then you should adjust accordingly. Slowly you will progress and get your spreadsheet to look a little more like that of a high-ranked player. Now, next up, we'll talk about ensuring the basics. A good player uses good equipment. However, someone who uses good equipment is not automatically a good player. I would like to thank you for watching. In the future, we'll talk about how to improve every single category, how to apply them in game, how to properly analyze VODs, and how all of that makes you a better player. If you have any idea or feedback, then please share them with me. Also, feel free to share your anecdotes or whether or not you overestimated yourself or not. Thanks for watching.